think it happened. Fantastic. Awesome. Well, welcome back, everybody. My name is Luke, and I will be your English teacher for this live English class. If you're an English learner, you've come to the right place. If you're not, get out. Or not. Up to you. So today we're going to be working on a couple of interesting things. I hope. But that remains to be seen. We're going to be talking about efficiency, and we'll also be talking about, well, questions that you ask. So we're going to be doing the classic Q&A as well. So welcome. I hope you have some good questions ready to go. I hope you have a good weekend coming up. I hope you've got plans. I might have plans. I haven't made plans. Well, no, I don't have plans. But soon I might have plans. I have plans to make plans. My plan is to make a plan. And once I have a plan, then I'll have plans. Now I just have a plan to make plans. That's confusing. I'm confusing myself. I should stop doing that. Never confuse yourself. Okay, so let me just quickly update the cover photo. Good. Done. I'm already done. And then let's see what else. I'll share this quickly to the WhatsApp group. And otherwise, if you wouldn't mind, hit the old like button. That really helps out. Anytime you have a channel you want to support, hit the thumbs up button or the like button whenever you see their stuff, because it really helps them out. It's like giving them a boost. It's a wonderful, wonderful thing. I always hit the like button when my favorite creators or YouTubers or people out there, whichever people I support who make things, that's what I want to say. I try to always give a like because it supports them a lot, more than you can possibly imagine. More than you can possibly imagine, if you can imagine that. Also, yes. Oh, good. Hold on. We have some people here already. That's great. Share. Also, if you want to see future videos, I post every week. I'm going to be posting a video later today, so watch out for that. And what else? Oh, yes. The courses are on sale. Courses are on sale. Check those out. That's in the links in the description. There are different places to find them. You can check those out and improve your English more seriously. Not so much this sort of conversational, light Q&A, little videos here and there, but serious, hardcore learning that happens in the courses. Okay. Who's here? Karina's here. iPhone Apps is here. It's a great name. Octavio is here. A long weekend in Mexico. Why is that, Octavio? Why do you have a long weekend in Mexico? From Argentina. Awesome. Hello from Greece. Your courses are amazing. Oh, thank you so much. Thank you so much, Zephy. I appreciate that. All right. Some people here from Facebook. Some people here from YouTube. Nothing wrong with all that. Karina's here from YouTube. Strange. Karina's usually on Facebook. Odd, strange, peculiar, unusual, bizarre, unexpected. Hold on, this is going to be gross. So, I'm drinking some tea. They're little seeds. You kind of have to kind of spit them out, I guess. This is delicious. It's honey, lemon, hot water, and passion fruit. I don't know if you've ever had passion fruit, but it is delicious. It's changed my whole life. Alex is here. Wonderful. I'm going to try to drink this without getting... Watch. Let me show you one of these things here. I can't grab it. You see that? It's a seed. It's very sour. And I don't know if I'm allowed to eat them. Can you eat passion fruit seeds? I'm worried if I do, I'll die mid-show from passion fruit seed poisoning. That'll be really bad. Alex Herrera. Hello, Luke. I'm from Nicaragua. I've been watching your videos for quite some time. Before getting hired in a call center. Dude! Your videos really helped me. Thank you, Alex. I really appreciate that. I'm assuming you took the Customer Service English course. That course is getting really popular, actually. It's a 7-hour course about various customer service English. Excuse me. It's a course about different customer service English possible situations, and it's getting really popular, which is very exciting for me and hopefully for the people taking it. It's on it's on my own website, but also you can find it on Udemy. Also, Udemy. Okay. If you guys have questions about idioms, pronunciation, grammar, punctuation, culture, learning methods and strategies, tools and tips, apps, platforms, SpaghettiOs, whatever you may have questions about, please ask. I will be more than happy to do my best to answer your questions. Are you ill, Luke? I think you might be hearing a bit of the kind of stuffy, a slightly stuffy nose. This morning I woke up with a slightly stuffy nose, and I don't think I'm ill. I mean, I feel fine. I just feel my nose is a bit stuffy for whatever reason. It's very cold today, extremely cold. Octavio says it's a long weekend because on Monday we celebrate the promulgation of the political constitution of the United Mexican States. That is very long. It's the 5th, however. They moved to the 2nd to make it a long weekend. Very cool. I love when that happens. Unless they make you work the next Sunday, in which case, bad, very bad. Okay, any other comments or questions? Yeah, so I guess I have a slightly runny nose as well. I'm sorry. Maybe I am sick. Maybe I do have a cold. I feel fine though. I feel okay. All right, I'll answer Everything Everywhere's question. This is a good one, and we'll go from there. And I do have some interesting things I want to share with you as well, or an interesting thing. Maybe some, and some, I don't know. Everything Everywhere says, hey, what's the best way to learn phrasal verbs? You guys know what phrasal verbs are? What is a phrasal verb? Well, phrasal verb is when you have a verb and then followed by a preposition, or a verb and then followed by an adverb. That's what a phrasal verb is. So you've probably heard many, like break down. Break down. So why don't we just take that example? That's a good one. So let's talk about breakdown, because it highlights some interesting things about phrasal verbs. Number one, phrasal verbs often have several meanings. So this makes it very important when you learn a phrasal verb to understand the context. I don't recommend that you find phrasal verbs in isolation. That means don't find them from a list. Discover them as you're reading, as you're watching movies, wherever. You hear them. And then remember where you heard them. Remember the context. Because the context can tell you which meaning it is. Because most phrasal verbs have more than 1, 2, 3, 4, right? So, very important. Of course, for learning words learning idioms, it's also very important to understand the context. But perhaps even more important for phrasal verbs, because the context is what tells you which meaning it is. Okay. Now, the other really important thing about phrasal verbs is to understand that you might see them in different forms, and they might look not like phrasal verbs at all, but they're based on phrasal verbs. And breakdown is a great example, and I'll explain that in just a second, okay? So let's take that, breakdown, okay? She broke down crying. So this is when something terrible happens and you're very upset and you collapse, you're so grief-stricken, so sad that you can't control yourself and you break down, okay? Well, that's one meaning of breakdown. But you can also break down mentally, psychologically, which means you kind of lose your mind. And that doesn't have to be sadness. That can be in another way to break down. But that is usually used in a different way, which we'll talk about in a second. Okay. Now, the other meaning of breakdown might be to separate something into parts. So there's a channel on YouTube where they open up iPhones or various phones and they look at the different parts. They pull out all the parts to show you what's inside. What are they doing? They're breaking down the iPhone into its parts. So that's one way. But then there's another one which is related to that, which is still a little bit different. To break down someone's argument, to break down something someone said, right? To break down someone's defenses. And then this gets into this context thing where they're all kind of slightly different, right? So we're arguing about something. You make a point, right? You say, I think polar bears should be allowed to drive buses. Okay. So I say then to you, well, okay, let's look at some of the assumptions that you're making, some of the things that you're thinking that are incorrect that lead you to have this opinion that polar bears should be allowed to drive buses. Number one, polar bears, they don't have thumbs, and so if they need to change gears on the bus or operate the ramp, it's going to be tough because you have to have a thumb for that to grab the ramp lever. So I'm separating what you said into its pieces, and I'm talking about each of them. I'm breaking down your argument, okay? To break something down in that way is kind of similar to breaking down the phone, right? You're talking about the pieces, okay? And sometimes you watch someone talking about a movie, a review of a movie, and you might hear them say that they're breaking down the movie as well. Okay, so it's all kind of the same idea. But what about breaking down a wall, breaking down barriers, right? Breaking down someone's assumptions. Well, that's not quite the same. That's more of a violent smash. There's a wall there. Smash it. Break it down. Break down. That may be the most literal meaning, right? You have some assumptions. You assume things. I smash them. You think bears can drive buses? No. You're crazy. I smash your assumptions. I'm breaking them down. Okay, to break down barriers. Someone who does something for the first time. Someone who maybe becomes the first female MMA champion. Breaking down a barrier before that was not really a thing. Well, that's just an example. I don't know if that's true or not. But you get the idea. So that's a kind of different meaning. And there are other ways to use this. My point is that you can't just look at one meaning and say, aha, there, I know it now, great. That's not how phrasal verbs work. You have to explore the different meanings and always, 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 always tie it back to context. Okay, now I said I was going to talk about something else. What about when it's one word? So often, but not always, phrasal verbs become a single word, and you'll see them written as a single word, and when they are single words, they're typically nouns. So, he had a mental breakdown. A mental breakdown. Mental is the adjective for breakdown. Breakdown, one word now, not two. Before it was two words. A breakdown is to lose your mind, right? But we call it a thing. It's a noun, a breakdown. So still the same thing, same meaning, right? But now we've nounified it. We've turned it into a noun, okay? Or a phone breakdown. That's my breakdown video. Well, there, breakdown is kind of used as an adjective for video, but you could use it as a noun as well. Depends on how it's being used, right? Could be an adjective for video in that case, okay? So a breakdown is in different ways also used as a noun, sometimes used as an adjective, and not all phrasal verbs can do that, but many can, like workout. I'm going to go do a workout. Shortly after takeoff, one word, takeoff. So when it's a noun, when it's an adjective, typically it's going to be one word, okay? That's generally speaking how phrasal verbs work. You got to really absorb them, get the feeling for them, practice using them, practice making example sentences, and always, 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 always tie them back to the context. Hope that helps. Guys, if you haven't already, I would really appreciate it if you could hit the like button if you want to support the channel. Don't forget, of course, to subscribe and check out my full English courses in the links in the description. Great. Great question. Okay, let's see. We've got a few new people here. Queen of Libya is here, of course. New follower. Oh, great. Thank you for joining. Paulson is here. Awesome. Meg. I see your question. I see it. I see it. I see it. Angel is here. I'm going to answer the question. Talk about yourself. That's a tough one, but I'll try. Take a whack at it. Let me take a sip of my beverage with seeds in it. Try not to get any in my mouth so that I don't die of passion fruit poisoning. It's unavoidable. They just go in. I've got four in my mouth. It's insane. How can I improve my English skills? That question is too general. Right? How can I improve my English is too broad. The answer to that question would be a course. So maybe go take my Building Your English Brain course, 3 hours. Go take my Master Native English course, 15.5 hours. The answer to your question is many hours long. How can I improve my writing skills? Well, again, I've got a couple courses coming out about writing as well. I mean, the real answers to these questions are courses, long, hours, many hours, practicing, working on different aspects. But the writing skills one, we're going to talk about that a little bit in a bit, so hold on there. Let's see. Phrasal verbs are endless, says Aleda. You're right about that. Meg says, hi Luke, reading out loud and recording ourselves or shadowing to get better speaking fluency, which gives the fastest results. Okay, so I think you've made some assumptions there that both of those give fast results. But let's define what we mean by fluency, okay? If by fluency you mean how smooth it sounds when you speak, just the sounds, and how the words flow together to get that natural sound, then we might be talking about the same thing. If by fluency we mean the ability to communicate well, naturally, in English, we may not be talking about the same thing. This may be an issue with words, right? People understand words to mean different things. Reading out loud, shadowing, and I'll talk about what those things are in a second. Both of these can help in one area but not in another. If it comes to, or when it comes to, speaking naturally, The most difficult part is not just making the sounds. That's part of it, of course, pronunciation, all of that. The most difficult part is finding the right words, which ones are natural, which ones are right for this situation, how do I put them together, how do I express what I feel, how do I use the right tense, how do I form the whole paragraph or sentence in my mind. All of these things are thoughts that you have to have as you're communicating. And if you're a native English speaker, you do this without thinking, of course. But if you're learning, you have to think about these things. Now, will reading out loud help you in that area? No, not really. No. Why would it? Because you're not engaging any of those gears. Think of what's going on in your mind as different gears. You know how when you put one gear in place, it engages and starts turning. But if you pull it back, it doesn't engage, it just sits there. So all of the gears in there, the English gears, pronunciation. And by pronunciation, we could also mean making words flow together naturally. Grammar, sticking together words in a whole sentence. How we do that, tenses and all of that stuff. Maybe vocabulary, which words to choose, and that includes maybe idioms, expressions, all of that. That's another gear, okay? So when you're reading out loud, you're engaging a couple gears, but not all the gears. You're not engaging the vocabulary gear, really. You're not engaging the grammar gear, probably at all. And you might be getting some things, learning some things passively, but that's not... You can't just look away from the book and say, okay, now I know how to speak English. No. You're working on pronunciation. You're working on that flowing natural sound, right? So just to be clear about what you're working on, think about the gears that you're engaging with each task. If by fluency you mean just sounding natural and speaking with a natural rhythm, definitely shadowing is better than reading. And I'll explain why. When you read out loud, you sit there and you look at a page and you read out loud, you're practicing making the sounds of English with your mouth, and that's great. Okay, so I'm not saying don't do it. Listening to yourself, listening back to yourself, great, fine. You can listen back and say, okay, my intonation could have been a little bit more natural here. My voice sounds a little flat. Ooh, the pronunciation of the word oshkosh. What is that word? Oshkosh, Banash, Osh. It's a clothing brand. Why did I choose a word I don't even know how to say? It's a self-inflicted wound. Yeah, that's what it is. So, Oshkosh Bagosh. I think that's what it is. So you read a word and then you hear it back when you say it and you know that's wrong because you know the correct pronunciation and you know what sounds more natural and you say to yourself, that could have been better when you listen back to the recording of you reading, which is great. But shadowing is potentially even more powerful. Shadowing is where you have some audio to listen to and you try your best to get close to that sound. British English, American English, me, anyone, right? You try to copy the exact sounds because there you're taking the focus on what is the word exactly and you're putting the focus on the individual sounds and what you have to do with this thing here and this thing here to make that sound correctly. And you're immediately comparing yourself to the sounds that you hear. How is this word said exactly? How does this native English speaker say this exactly, right? And that also increases your awareness, the ability to hear slight differences between yourself and what you hear. Oh, I'm saying but I'm hearing slightly different. So you're able to notice those things when you do shadowing because you're immediately following after what you hear. You're doing it at the same time. And it's all about listening. So there's immediate feedback to yourself. Now, you should record that too. That's great to record as well. But the powerful thing is that you have that immediate comparison to something you're listening to. You're also working on your listening skills, your awareness, and your ability to hear subtle differences. And then because you're comparing yourself, your own sound, to those small differences, then you're improving your habits. You're able to then notice, oh, I said it wrong that time, and I know that because I remember the shadowing exercise I did, and I'm going to then change it so that the next time it'll be easier to say correctly, and the next time it'll be easier, and then it's a new habit. So you improve your habits through practice based on improved awareness and improved listening. You're working on more things than when you just sit there looking at a page, reading words on the page. Again, nothing wrong with it, but I don't think it's as effective. So if you're going to choose one for fastest results, then go with shadowing. But that doesn't mean you shouldn't do both. And just to be clear, that doesn't mean you're going to then be a good English speaker. Because there are plenty of people who have very good pronunciation who still don't speak well at all because they haven't engaged those gears. They haven't used those gears very much because they think that shadowing and reading will make them better at English, which is not necessarily true. You have to do a lot of other things as well. Hope that helps. Guys, if you haven't already, don't forget to subscribe. Also, hit the like button. I would really appreciate that. It helps the channel significantly. And check out my full courses in the links in the description. Okay. Okay. What do we got here? Good question, Meg. I appreciate it. Like we talked about yesterday, I don't know if you were here, but you always want to connect your goal to the thing you're working on. Sometimes people waste a lot of time doing things that are a total waste of time. Surrounding with English. I like the name. Do people in the USA talk fast like actors in movies? Because I can understand you 100% than them. Yes, people in America talk even faster than movies, but it's not about speed. Some people talk quickly, some people talk slowly. Some people learn their words like this. They use idioms and expressions, but that's not the main factor. That's not the main thing. That's not the main reason you understand me better than others. The reason you understand me better than others is references. I'm not referring to anything culturally that you wouldn't know. But when a native English speaker is in a movie having a conversation with another, or you see two native English speakers talking to each other, they're making all kinds of references to things that you can really only know if you're fairly deep in American culture and you know the English-speaking references, the American references, the British references. So that's a much bigger factor than speed. It's not about speed. If I increase my speed right now, I think you probably wouldn't have much of a difficult time understanding what I'm saying. See, I'm increasing my speed. You can probably still understand what I'm saying, but because I'm not using references, even though I'm speaking faster, you can still understand me pretty clearly. So it's not about speed, right? Not about speed. This is really hard to drink. When it's spitting out the stupid seeds. And someone researched this for me. Can I eat passion fruit seeds without dying? This is a very inconvenient drink. My wife made this for me. And I can't drink it without a million seeds going into my mouth. Delicious. But then I'm worried, can I swallow these? I don't know. So then I spit them out. It's very difficult. It's very complicated. Who knew that drinking things could be so complicated and difficult? Could someone please do some research for me and let me know if I'll die if I eat passion fruit seeds? All right, I'm going to answer Philippe's question, and then I see Mai Yamamoto has a question as well. It's a good question. Both are good questions. Both very good questions. Both fantastic questions. Both wonderful questions. Both amazing questions. Okay. Philippe Guzman says, how can I speak without fear in English? And there are a couple of different ways to talk about this. And I want to focus on two. Okay? So, the first thing is what I guess we could call a hump. A hump is a bump. A bump is a hump. It's a thing that goes up and comes down. What you think is a towering mountain in front of you, this world of speaking English in front of others, is much more likely just a little bump. And let me explain what I mean by that. I said bump. I meant hump. Hump, bump, whatever. Just a little hump or bump. You think that this world of communicating with native English speakers is this scary place where you're always going to be nervous and afraid and not have confidence. In reality, what a lot of people find is after they get over the initial fear, the first few encounters, the first few situations where they have to communicate with native English speakers, especially if you make friends who are native English speakers, especially if you actually do it, you give a presentation, you say something in English. And I'm not saying the first time, but the first few. Once you get there, once you get over that initial fear and that initial bump, it's not like then the next thing is just as difficult. It gets easier. It gets comfortable. It gets natural. You gain confidence and you realize, hey, wait a second. I don't have to be perfect in order to try to express myself. If I make mistakes, actually, most people don't care. Native English speakers don't really care. That's interesting. Nobody's laughing at me. Nobody really minds. They can see that I'm trying my best. They can see that I'm trying to express myself. They may even respect me for trying. And actually, the only person who was really judging me was myself. Through their eyes, that I was looking at myself with the knowledge I have of myself and my own insecurities through their eyes. And in fact, they don't really have any of that at all. They don't care. They really, really don't care if I look silly or say something that's wrong or make a mistake. They don't care. I care. And then I project my care onto all of them. And I see myself through their eyes with all of the insecurity and fear that I have inside. So the first thing to realize is it's all you. It's all inside your head. It's 100% you and 0% anybody else. Because nobody cares if you make a mistake. Nobody is really sitting back judging you. Ha ha ha. And if they do, it's only for a quick second and then they're not thinking about it anymore. It is all in your head. So that's hopefully a relief. Then all you have to do is try a couple times and realize that for yourself. Do an event where you have to give a presentation. Join a conversation. Join a meetup group where you have to express yourself in English and try. Make some mistakes. Realize in your own experience that that's true. That making mistakes is not a big deal. What you'll find is, rather than it being this gigantic mountain of fear, you'll find that it's a little hump. Boop. Once you're over the hump, it doesn't mean you're better at English. Once you're over the hump, you notice, oh, this is not so bad. Oh, this is not so scary. Oh, I can keep trying. And then once you're over the hump, over the bump, then you'll find that you can actually improve faster, because as confidence improves, your abilities improve. Your skills improve. You start feeling comfortable enough to use all the things that you've learned. Because the lack of confidence, fear causes you to freeze up. And when you're frozen with fear, then it's almost like you're real abilities have been reduced 50%. A lot of people say, oh, when I get drunk, my English is so good. Well, if that's true of you, when I have 3 glasses of wine, my English is great. All right. That is proof. That is chemical proof that it's all in your head. If you feel more confident and you speak more naturally and you can speak without fear, when you have 3 glasses of wine, it's definitely in your head because the wine is in your body. So it's you. So just try something. Jump over that initial wall, and I think you'll see what I mean. So that's one thing. The other thing is to get over this feeling of fear, also related to attitude, but not just the initial thing, just in general. And I was reading, who was it? Socrates, about virtue, about what's good. And Socrates says that virtue is something that happens by habituation. Virtue is something that happens not by making a sudden decision, but virtue is something that happens because we get used to being virtuous. That's interesting, right? Think about that with your ability to communicate as well, and how you feel about doing that, right? If you get into the habit of saying an opinion to another human being, are you going to feel exactly the same way about doing that the 100th time that you do it compared to the first time that you do it? Probably not, right? When you did something for the very first time, you didn't know what you were doing, you felt a little nervous, and you maybe made some mistakes, and you didn't know what you were really trying to accomplish, and it was just a mess, and you felt bad about it afterward. But then after doing it for 5 or 6 months, this repeated thing, ice skating, riding a bicycle, playing ping pong, whatever, your job, after you've done it 100 times, it's no big deal. You feel so comfortable. What's the next challenge? This is easy. I'm used to this. Again, that doesn't necessarily mean your skills are improving, but just building the habit of always expressing a thought when you have the thought is extremely powerful, because it's going to get used to the feeling of speaking. And you can do that by yourself, and that's great, but the other part is knowing that someone is listening to you, waiting for you to respond. So I would encourage you to find situations where you can do it with others, where you can express yourself around other people. And you'll find, after you do it many, many times, that because it's a habit, it's no big deal, and then you can focus on, instead of that part, instead of, oh, I'm so scared, you can focus on, how do I say this? What words should I use? Pronunciation, and all of the skills that you want to improve that no longer gets in your way. So, find a thing that's difficult, find a thing that you're afraid of, and tackle these 2 problems together. Identify the thing you're afraid of. I'm afraid of talking in a group of other English speakers, and then do that to prove to yourself that it's not that scary, but then keep doing the same thing until it becomes a habit, and you will feed 2 birds with 1 scone if you do that. And you'll find that you improve faster because you're feeling more natural and more comfortable. So I hope that helps. Guys, if you haven't already, don't forget to subscribe and hit the like button as well. I would really appreciate that. Also, if you haven't already, be sure to check out my full English courses. Some of them are 3 hours long. Some of them are 7 hours long. Some of them are 15 hours long. Check those out if you really want to improve your English. Seriously, those are in the links in the description. Okay. That's a good question. Look at this. Tomas proves my point 100%. For a month, I'm making a challenge of everyday live video on Facebook. It was tough at the beginning, but now it's easier and easier. Bingo. That's exactly right. How scary is it to be live on video on Facebook, in front of your friends, in front of others, in front of a bunch of people who are listening to you? It's scary. So scary. But if you just keep doing it, it's going to get easier and you're going to get into the habit of it. So I think Tomas is right on it. But most people never take that first step. Most people never say, you know what, I'm just going to do it. Most people say, yeah, well, maybe I need to get ready first. I need to study for 6 years first, and then I'll try. Better to do what Tomas does and just do it. Just do it. Just start. Just begin. Because you're going to realize things once you begin that you never thought about before. And that's very powerful. What's the difference between especially and specially? What is the significance of the word unremitting? Ooh. Not super common. I might get to that one. We'll see. My Yamamoto. This is a question I wanted to answer. I think I've developed a strategy for drinking this. If you guys haven't been paying attention, I've been struggling against this drink that I'm drinking. You had to just drink it like that and it's okay. Use your teeth as a filter. It works. Kind of. I'm convinced if everyone just started a Facebook live stream on their own, talked about something they liked, their English confidence would improve significantly. But I know that most people won't do it, so. Good things go to the brave. Good things go to those who are willing to just stand up and go for it. Good for you, Tomas. All right. My Yamamoto says, hi, Luke. I'm from Japan, living in the States. My husband is American and a fast talker. Sometimes I don't catch what he said. LOL. Does this happen to your wife too? So, I guess Mai knows that my wife is not a native English speaker. So my wife is from China, and English is not her native language. In fact, she didn't really speak English when we met. Not much. And so I've been married for 7 years. 7 years. Getting old. Over the last 7 years, her English has improved dramatically. Her English is actually quite good now. She's got a very natural accent, and she still sounds Chinese, but it's not very strong. Very soft, natural accent, and she uses the language well. She works for an American company. She communicates with people from all over the world at a very high level in her job, which is a pretty technical job. And she's a designer, so she has to talk about all of that stuff. And so, yes, she does sometimes not understand me, but also most of the time she does. And I'm not sure that's good for her. So let me explain what I mean there. This also answers another question that I get a lot, which is, why do I understand you, Luke, but not everyone else? I think I've been an English teacher for so long that I tend to naturally simplify what I'm saying unless I'm talking to people who I think are interested in hearing me say things in a more complicated way. If you want to hear me talk about things in a more complicated way, you can check out my podcast. I have a podcast. It's not an English learning podcast. It's just a podcast, personal podcast. You can check that out. It's called, you can find it in the related channels. Anyway, so I tend to simplify things for most people, especially for people I know who don't speak English natively. And so I have a certain way of speaking around my wife that I'm kind of used to, and so I don't say some things that I know she won't know, or might then ask me, what does that mean? What do you mean by that? Now, most of that is not speed. She will understand me if I say things quickly. It's not about speed for her. And I think for most English learners, they think it's speed, but it's not speed. Speed is not the variable. Speed is not the factor. The main thing is references, what you might say that is cultural or connected to something cultural, whether that's a reference to a movie or a TV show or the education system. I mean, think about your education, right? You spend that many years of your life going to school, and each education system in each country is different. I went through it. Other Americans went through it. Did you? If you didn't, then I know many things culturally, locally, that other people who did that know that you don't know. Even if you master English, you still don't know those things, because those are cultural things, things that we share, things in common. And the same for you. I could learn your native language totally, 100%. I know all the words. But then you tell me something and I say, what are you saying? You're making a reference, something that you experienced that's related to your culture, that someone who didn't grow up in your culture knows. Sorry, someone who didn't grow up in your culture wouldn't know. Yes, that's what I want to say. How could they? They didn't grow up in your culture. So there's the language part and there's the culture part. And often the culture part gets dismissed, like, it doesn't matter. It matters a lot. And it's one of the main reasons that people struggle to understand native English, because of all these references. So maybe it's speed for you. Your husband speaks very quickly. Maybe, though, sometimes he says something not realizing that this would not be something that you would know. Because a lot of native English speakers think that they're saying things very clearly for a non-native English speaker, but actually they're still very confusing because they don't know what you don't know. I know what you don't know because I've been teaching English for 10 years. So I know if there's one thing that I can say I'm good at knowing probably what you don't know. And so I can avoid saying all of those things so that you understand. That's what I'm doing, right? It's my superpower. My superpower is to be able to sense what someone at this level probably doesn't know and make sure I don't say those things so that they can understand me. So maybe that's not good for my wife. Because if I were saying things that she didn't know, she might be able to learn English faster and learn those things more easily and more naturally. And she does over time. Slowly I'll mention things that are cultural. But just for the sake of convenience, when we're speaking in English, I'll often just keep it simple. And speak very quickly. Speed is not the issue, but keep it pretty simple in terms of references, in terms of idioms and phrases that I think she won't know. But one thing that happened was when she first got a job in the United States, her English went from here to here because now she's in a situation where she's not living with someone who's intentionally keeping it simple. She's working with people who are just saying what they want to say, what they need to say for work. So it has to go to the next level. And she did. She's, I think, improving a lot every day, almost. So I hope that answers your question, Mai. It's a very interesting situation, the bilingual relationships, and also how that works with kids. Which language are you going to teach your kids? That's kind of interesting too. But I appreciate this more personal question. Very interesting. Guys, if you haven't already, make sure you hit the like button. I'd appreciate that. Also, subscribe so that you can see future videos. And if you haven't already, also check out my full courses in the links in the description. Okay. Z. Z. Okay. Farmon says, how are you, sir? I'm good, sir. How are you? This is the slowest I've ever consumed a beverage in my entire life. Running out of tissues. Why is future continuous passive not possible in English? I don't even know what that means. I don't even know what that means. All right. Well, I want to talk about something, if that's cool with you. Those of you who need to use English professionally probably need to do your fair share of writing. It's important to work on your writing skills, I think, in general. If you don't know, for example, how to make a sentence clearly, how to use punctuation, come on, punctuation, then others will say, oh, okay, well, you're not a serious person, all right? So it's important to get the basics. In 2021, that's what year it is now, you have to be able to respond quickly and to be effective and efficient when it comes to communicating online. A lot of communication, email, Zoom, chats, all happens online, and it's a lot of typing. Be honest, it's a lot of typing. So I want to share something with you, which I've been using for probably 15 years now. It's a game that can improve your typing speed. Now, there are a lot of things out there that can improve your typing speed. All I want to do is share with you my personal favorite, the one that I always go back to when I want to brush up my typing skills, when I want to improve my typing skills. All right? It's a game. It's a typing game. It's called Z-Type. This is not an advertisement. I'm not being sponsored by Z-Type, although they should sponsor me. Why not? I want to talk about them anyway, because it's cool. Very cool. Very fun. Very interesting. Very challenging. And the thing which makes it different from a lot of other typing games or typing programs that can help you improve your typing speed and accuracy is that it's kind of addicting. That means when you do one, you want to do another. Just one more. Just one more. Just one more. Right? That's good. You want that. You want it to be really fun so that you keep working at it. If it's a boring typing, trying to improve my speed, then, yeah, it's boring. So I'm assuming most of you can at least type fairly well. I just want to say, if you want to improve your accuracy and speed, especially now that everyone's working remotely and you have to always email and send messages, if you want to improve your accuracy and speed, this is a good way to do it. I use it fairly frequently, maybe twice a month. I'll get on and practice my typing a little bit. So why don't we take a look? I'm going to show you Z-Type. It's actually very, very simple. So let's pop over here. Yoink, and we're on Z-Type. Here we go. So the website is zty.pe. That's the website. Or you could just type in Z-Type in Google, for example. And it's a pretty classic looking game, right? It's actually got really good music. I like the music a lot. It's awesome. All right, so let's just try it. I'm gonna play one. You can see how good or bad I am at typing. I'm gonna try my best. You can load your own text, so if you want to practice a text, you can put in your own. Let's see how it goes. Got music here, very nice. Okay, so all you do is these things are coming at you, right? Default, using patch. And obviously, you want to be typing without looking at your hands. Oh, I just used one of my super... You get a blast thing, and I just accidentally used it. Don't use the... Oh! I think I have a pretty high score. My total high score is really, really high. Wave 3. It gets really hard really fast. My advice would be to... If you see one of those big spaceships, you need to kill it fast because it makes little ships fly out, and it'll kill you. So whenever you see one of those, you gotta get it right away. See that one up there? Oh, where am I? Oh. Ah! Yeah! See these little things come at you. Phew! Right. So you want to do involving. Hey. And releasing first. Brakes, T, O's, and... Hey. Good. Wave 6! It's a lot of pressure doing this on camera. It's cold in this room. I promise I'm better than this. I think I've got to wave 14. I think that... Oh, that was close. Whew. My hands are cold. My hands are cold. My hands are cold. My hands are cold. High pressure situation. Ah! Hands. I can do that. Why'd I do it? Wave 9, clear. Come on. Wave 10, come on. Haha! My fingers are loosening up a little bit. Okay. Ah! Where? Oh, yeah, see? See? Ah! I had to use my thing. I couldn't, yeah. One of the ships was covering it. I only got one left. Ah! Oh, I'm gonna die. Oh, I gotta use that. Oh. This little guy. Get that little guy out of there. Level... Oh, this is where it gets hard. Very intense. Where am I? What? Oh, ground. Oh, Oh. I promise. I think I could do better. I think maybe the highest I reached was wave 16. Accuracy 90%. Could be better. Final score 986. That's intense. But now, see, I want to play again. That's what's awesome about this. So if you want to work on your typing, this is a good one because it's super fun and it's super addicting and it can really help your typing speed. And once you warm up, it gets really cool because you can kill them all very fast. Super interesting and fun. So, if you want to work on your typing skills, check out Z-Type. It's not a sponsored thing. Just check it out because it's good and it's cool. And share your scores with me. Let me know your high scores. I'm very curious to know how high you can get. If you haven't already, don't forget to subscribe. Check out my full courses in the links in the description, and I would really appreciate it if you could hit the like button. That supports the channel a lot. All right. Z-type. Z-type. Maya says, thank you so much. I like your video with your wife. My husband, coworkers told me sometimes they can't catch his English, even though they're native speakers. Yeah. Some people are just, they have a kind of smushed together speech. No seeds in my mouth that time. I'm going to master this drink before the end of this. I'm going to master it. Alex says, as a customer service representative who has been working for about 2 years in a call center, sometimes I feel like I kind of struggle with other topics. Is it normal? Yeah, if you're used to only talking about one thing, things related to your job, and you don't have other opportunities to talk about other things, then absolutely 100% yes. Let's see. What do we got? What do we got? What do we got? Any interesting questions? I'm just going up through them. Looking for interesting questions here. Interesting ones. In this sentence, we have, I'm just reading this. Give me a second. Why in next sentence we use present simple but not present continuous? He doesn't want to have dinner now. I've thought if in a sentence a word which shows happening sound now is present continuous. Ah. Okay. Let me see if I can answer this one. I might need to think about it for a second. All right, perhaps we can try it. I'm just trying to simplify this in my mind so that I can give the simplest possible answer that's not more confusing than the question. All right. Someone with perhaps a Russian name that I cannot read says, hello. Why in the next sentence we have to use present simple but not present continuous? He doesn't want to have dinner now. I thought if in sentence a word which show happening around now is PRC, which is present continuous. So let's try to explore this, and an in-depth answer would need to be longer, okay? And more complete with more examples. But I'm going to try to just give you the basic idea. So, simple tense. Go. goes, right? Want, do, simple, present tense. Okay. I like that. I like it. Like. Okay. I need it. I need it. Need. Okay. Well, why am I not saying I am needing it? Why am I not saying I am liking it? Because you may have heard present continuous tense. Present continuous tense is used when we talk about actions that are going on. What are you doing? I'm watching a movie. What is she doing? Oh, she's taking her dog for a walk. What are we doing tomorrow? Well, that would be tomorrow, but that would be future continuous, right? We're playing video games, right? What are you doing now? We're playing video games. Okay. So the continuous tense is when you have the ing. It's future continuous, present continuous, past continuous. Pretty easy to change it. He was watching a movie. He is watching a movie. And he will be watching a movie. Okay. So then why would we ever use the simple tense to talk about something in the present? Well, in fact, there are lots of situations in which we would use the simple tense. Not only the simple tense, the perfect tense. There are all kinds of different tenses that we can use to describe all kinds of different times. The first thing that we have to get out of the way with this question is never, ever say that you have a rule which works all the time. I thought that if something is happening now, we use present continuous tense. Who said that? Is that a rule? All the time? Every time? No. It's a general rule when you're describing actions if something is happening now. But there are plenty of different other ways to express what's going on now that may not use present continuous tense. Anytime you learn a rule, you always have to keep in the back of your mind, hey, this is a language. Languages are not science. This is not a mathematical equation. This is a language. And so people use them in different ways to express what they mean in different ways, and those ways have different feelings, and a rule is kind of a rule, but never 100%. There's really only a couple of things that I can think of that work 100%, and I'm not going to tell you what they are, because then if you find one exception, then I'll get in trouble. But I'm pretty sure I know a couple of rules that are true 100% of the time, but I'm only pretty sure. So you always have to just be aware that, okay, this works usually, but let's be open to other things. He doesn't want to have dinner now is correct. What would be the alternative if this rule were 100%? Well, then it would have to be something like, he isn't wanting to have dinner now, or something like that. This is very strange. Definitely not correct. But let's simplify it. Let's do it simply, okay? Let's say we take out the negative and we just use want, okay? So if it's going on right now, he is wanting, and let's just take out the to have, let's just say dinner, okay? He is wanting dinner now. He is wanting dinner now. Now, is that correct? He is wanting dinner now. No, it's not. It's not correct. And you know it's not correct, right? You know it doesn't sound right. Somehow you know, right? Everybody knows, most people know this somehow. It doesn't feel right. It's because you've had exposure to the language, right? You don't always have to know the reason. You just know. But also, let's think about this for a second. If I use I want, I need, right? I have. Most of the time. Not always. Those are what kind of verbs? It's a verb, yes, but what is it describing? If I want something, what is that describing? Well, it's describing a state about me, a condition about me, right? And this condition is kind of true about me. I want. So I'm not really actively doing anything. I'm not taking an action. I'm not going, ha, like that. This is just a condition that's happening that's related to me. It's a state that's happening related to me, right? So for those kinds of things that you could call conditions or states, often we will not use the ing present continuous form. Now, sometimes you will. In a few situations, you'll hear people say, oh, he's having a party tomorrow. He's having a party. But that having there, then, that having is more the kind of do having, the kind of action to host. So it's more like hosting in that case, having a party. So you have to not just think about, oh, every verb. No, think about what the verb is. Okay? If I have a cold, I won't say I'm having a cold. I am having a cold. Because this is kind of something that's just true about me. This is my condition. This is my state, in a way, right? It's not like I'm going, I'm colding. I have this as an action. No, it's not a thing that I do. But if I say I'm having a party, that would be future tense. But if I'm having a party, I mean, I'm using have to talk about a thing that I'm doing that's similar to hosting or throwing. It's closer to an action. So ask yourself what kind of thing it is. Now with this one, he is wanting dinner. He is wanting dinner now. This want is a desire. It's something true about it. It's like having a cold in a way, right? It's true about this person. He has that feeling. It's going on with him at the moment. So we would use the simple present tense there because we're describing that type of action. But if he's taking an action, like he's drinking a cup of coffee, or he's milking a cow, or he's jumping into a lake, or he's licking a telephone pole, or he's making an egg salad sandwich, or he's looking at a penguin sitting on an iceberg, right? This is an action that is being taken. And so we can see, because it's an action that would then stop a moment later or could stop at any moment, that ing makes sense. Whereas if we say something like his condition is love. He loves penguins. He is loving penguins now? No, he loves penguins. Right now? Yeah. That's his condition. That's his state. Oh, okay. He wants penguins. Now, that's funny. I don't know what that means exactly. I want penguins now. That's kind of silly, but it highlights this state or this condition about him that makes the ing look a little silly and sound weird. So I hope that helps you separate them in your mind. There is a better way to explain this that requires a slightly different grammatical explanation and probably a bunch of examples. But I think just having a practical understanding of generally how we use the simple present simple tense and the present continuous tense, just a general idea about it, to think about what kind of thing it is, what kind of verb it is, should at least get you started and help you pick between them. But I think you'll already know. When you hear it, you'll just know that it sounds natural or not. So I hope that helps. I hope that answers your question. Guys, if you haven't already, don't forget to subscribe. I would appreciate if you would also hit the like button. And if you haven't already, check out my full courses in the links in the description. Yup. Hui. Okay. I hope that answers the question. Guys, time to call it a day. I got to make plans for the weekend. I hope you all have a great weekend. Thank you all so much for the what am I saying? For the questions. Thank you for sticking around. I mentioned a podcast earlier that I do. If you want to check that out, you can find it in the related channels on the page. You can also, let's see, if you're on Facebook, I think I did a post about it. The most recent video on YouTube you can check out as well. I made an announcement about it. If you're interested, not specifically for English learning, just a general podcast. And if you want to support it, hit subscribe on that channel. Would really appreciate that. And check out the video. And that's it. So again, hope you all have a great weekend, a fantastic weekend. And I will see you all next week. So have a good one.